Okay, so what we want to have a look at is income tax. And the maths behind income tax is relatively easy. What is difficult with income tax is how to break up a person's wage into the little bands. Okay, so what you're going to have in the exam is this type of table. So let's just go through it quickly. What you've got first of all is you've got a certain amount of your wage that you pay no tax on, so this is called the personal allowance. So, if anyone earns £8,000, okay, so imagine someone earns 8,000, they pay no tax, okay, there's a 0% tax at anything up to 15,000, so even 14,999, they pay no income tax, okay. But then once you get over that 15,000, you start to pay 15% on anything that you earn over 15,000. So what that means is if you're earning 20,000, you're going to pay 15% tax on 5,000 of your money. And that's where people start to struggle, because if someone earns 20,000, they assume that they just pay 15% tax of it all, but that isn't true. So what I'm going to do with you is look at how I like to break up their money. And we'll take that 20,000 to start with. Okay, so let's take someone, they earn 20,000 in a year. Now what I'm going to do is draw a little table or a bar chart with all this information from the table in it. Okay, so just watch what I'm doing. So we've got the 0 up to 15,000. Then we got 15 up to 25. Okay, so what I'm doing is putting that information in the table into this little bar chart. So we've got 40,000, and then we've got 50,000, and then we've got anything over that. Okay, and the tax rate is 0%, 15%, 20%, 35, and 45. Okay, so all I've done, taken that information and put it in a different format. And I do recommend you do that, because students eventually find this a lot easier. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put that £20,000 into where it belongs in here. Okay, so it's going to be roughly here, isn't it? Right then. Now, what I'm going to do is break up that 20,000 into different sections. And what I mean by that is if we look at this first section here, I need to put 15,000 of his money in that personal allowance. He gets 15,000 free. So I'm going to put 15,000 in here. Okay. And then I look at the next section. Now your next section is here. How much money goes in there, ask yourself? Well, it's the number, it's how much money is in between the 15,000 and the 20,000. So that is 5,000. Okay, so I've done that by just doing 20,000, take away the 15,000 he has personal allowance, because that's gone, that's, pay no tax. And then I stop the red line, because that's where his money ends. Now what I'm going to do is work out the percentage. So this first bit is no tax, so I don't have to work that bit out. This next bit is the 5,000, 15%. So there's 15% of 5,000. Now remember, this is a calculator, so let me just grab my calculator. Working out 15% of that would be 15 times 5,000, and then because we're working out percent, we divide by 100, so 750. Okay, and that's how much tax is paid in total. Alright. So what I'm going to do now is do yet another example, take you through this bar process again. Like I say, the hardest part is chunking up his money. That 15 and that 5 gives me the 20,000 that he earns. Okay, and chunking up that money is the hardest part. This percentage bit you should be okay with. So let's go and try another one. Same tax band. This time we're going to have a look at someone that earns, and we're going to go to, we're going to say 50,000. Again, all I'm going to do is copy out of this table again with all that information in. Okay, so those are my boundaries, and then we've got the 0%, 15%, and so on. Okay, so that bit, easy enough. All the table just in that chart. Next bit is putting that 50,000 in the right section. So if we're looking at it, 50,000 would be right here. Okay, so it's already there. Right, now I'm going to start on the left and just start filling in all those details. So first of all, how much money goes into this little pot, this 0% pot? Well, 0 to 15,000 is 15,000. How much money goes into the 15% pot? Well, all I do is look at the difference between these two numbers here. So I do 25,000, take away 15,000. 10,000. So I put £10,000 of his money in that 15% pot. Okay, 25,000 to 40,000 goes into this 20% pot. So 40,000 to 25,000. Let's work that out. Okay, that's 15,000. So I put 15,000 of his money in that 20% pot. And then finally we have this 35% pot, and that goes from 40 to 50. So I put 10,000 in there. Okay, 50,000, take away 40,000. Okay, so that is me chunking up his money. So again, if you take 15, 10, 15, and 10, you would get his 50,000. So we've just split it. Some goes into the 15%, some goes into the 20%, some goes into the 35%. And now I work the percentage of each of those out. So I'm going to take this bit, and I work out 15% of 10,000, which is 1,500. And I'm going to take 20% of that 15,000, which is 3,000. And I also take 35% of 10,000, which is 3,500. So his total tax, okay, so each of them, he's paying all of those taxes, okay, just at different rates. So if we add all of them together, we get £8,000 paid. Okay. So like I say, the most important part here is this chunking up of allocating all these monies to the different pots. The most common problem we have is people will see 50,000. They'll see 50,000 on here, and they will just take 35% of his money. Well, it isn't that simple, I'm afraid, because we have to put some money in the personal allowance, some of his money in the basic rate, some of his money here, and then some of it there as well. And that's where I'm chunking up that money, allocating it to different spaces. Not easy, but it is worth sort of 6-7 marks in the exam, so it's something that's worth getting your head around. And you can see that the maths isn't that complicated once we get through the allocation of all those parts. Okay, so what we'll do, I'm just going to give you one more. I'll give you the wage, so we're going to work out with someone that has a wage of, let's go 100,000. What I'd like you to do is just pause it, have a go at it, and just see how close you get to it. You might get it right. And let me just mention, 100,000 is in here. We do not just take 40% of that 100,000. Okay, we've got to allocate it into these three pots. Okay, so pause, have a go, and then come back. Okay, I'll leave on a go. I am just going to copy the information in the table. Hold on here. So 0 to 11.5, 11.5 to 45, and it's up to 150, and then it's anything above. Percentages. That's all the information done. Now I'm putting the 100,000 in for this person. So she's earning about 100,000, so it's somewhere in there. Now I'm going to work left to right and start allocating all of her money in to certain pots. The first pot is the 0% pot that goes from 0 to 11.5. So 11.5 of her money will go in there. The next pot is the 20% pot, and the 20% pot goes from 11.5 to 45,000. So to work out how much money I need to put in there, I'm just going to do 45,000, take away the 11.5. Okay, it's the gap between the two numbers. Too many zeros. Ooh, let's work that out. I think it's 33.5, but we better double check. Yep, 33.5. So 33,500 is going to be taxed at 20%. Okay, and now we're at the 40%. Well, let's have a look at this 40% here. We're going from 45,000 up to 100,000, and then we're stopping. So to work out how much money goes in there, we'll just work out the difference between 100,000 and 45,000. Okay, which is going to be 55,000. Okay, so money allocated. Do that double check if you want. 11.5, 33.5, 55,000 will give you a total of 100,000. Now let's double check, just in case you don't believe me. 11.5, 33,500, 55,000 gives me the 100,000. Perfect. Now it's the percentages we're working out. So nothing for this first one. So we're working out 20% of 33.5. Oh, better get a calculator for that. So move it to the side so you don't see my head in it. So 20 multiplied by 33,500, and because it's a percentage, we divide by 100. So 6,700. And then this one, we're going to take 40% of 55,000. So 40 times 55,000, and divide that by 100. We get 22,000. Ouch. So total tax is going to be 6,700 and 22,000. Oof, what am I writing here? Just double check if I did that correctly. So they're paying that much tax. Ouch. So hopefully that makes some sense to you. If it doesn't, rewatch it. You know, I do advise that you do this table. I do advise that you try and chunk those money up and then work out the percentages. I will have posted something on Google Classroom for you to practice that on, and then we'll try and catch up next week. Okay, have a good rest of the day. See you later.